Chapter 13, 11th grade. Substitute teachers and in-laws. Beating the stereotypes. No one wants a bad substitute teacher, and no one wants a bad in-law, and no one gets through school without having to interact with substitutes. Although substitute teachers are not a daily occurrence, the student who can connect with a sub is the student who has a higher level of maturity with regard to relationships and change. The student that can endure a substitute is a reflection of a person who is confident in their relationship with their regular teacher, has stability with them, and does not feel that their position will be threatened by a person that has less than little effect on their grade. Enduring a substitute implies that a student makes it through their time with the substitute teacher without laying himself open to a negative commentary being communicated back to the full-time teacher. The only way to avoid this is to realize that only your main teacher, your spouse, carries the weight of the outcome of your grade in class. Equally, no one gets through marriage without having to interact with in-laws. Although the in-laws aren't the ones you married, they come as a package deal with your spouse in some capacity. Whether they intersect your marriage on a daily basis or hardly at all, the effects that are left on your spouse from their upbringing and family ties will be weaved into the fibers of your marriage quilt. Issues that have gone unresolved in you and your spouse's childhood will definitely carry over into your marriage. It's one thing to be working on your marriage and the challenges both you and your spouse brought with you from your childhood into the relationship. And it's another thing to be faced with the extra challenge of establishing the boundaries that work for your marriage in relation to the connection and interactions with the in-laws. When a teacher returns to their students after an absence, their hope is that their student was a good representation of the respect and care the student has for the classroom and their education process, regardless of the possible shortcomings of the substitute teacher. A husband's hope is that his wife is a good representation of the respect and care she has for their relationship and their growth process, regardless of the influence from the in-laws. In a marriage, spouses know when their family may cause a problem, and it's up to you to decide if the person you are marrying is worth the issues your marriage may incur based on the family you will become attached to. This may be a point well suited for the kindergarten chapter in the section titled The Interview. Nonetheless, you may encounter the in-law conundrum in any grade level of your marriage schooling. A reoccurring pattern I have become well aware of is that one person in a couple is likely to have more desire to be in constant contact with family, while the other spouse feels completely gratified by the relationship they have with their partner and is in need of much less involvement and contact with other family members. Instead of allowing this difference to become a rift between you, establish a reasonable schedule that allows for ample alone time, all the while not becoming the presumed evil husband or wife who comes across as a person trying to keep someone away from their family. If you have been labeled as this person, chances are you have been deprived of the time you needed to establish your relationship before other people got involved. Attending an engagement party for some friends of ours, I received a groundbreaking revelation that held the power to turn the tides of in-law relations forever. A microphone was being passed around the room from one married couple to the next for each to share their best marriage advice and lend their support to the new couple. I had never been a part of such a meaningful and purpose-driven event surrounding the celebration of two people getting married. I was moved by all of the couple's truthful and heartfelt advice, but when the mic got to the mother of the groom, I was overcome with emotion. Her words opened floodgates of remarkable and exceptional consciousness and selflessness unlike anything I had ever heard, especially at a wedding. I promise to give you the time and space to get to know your husband. I will not show up at your home or even ask to come over until you are ready for my visit. I will give you a year before I call my son with any requests for favors or to ask of his time. I understand how important it is that you two get to know each other as husband and wife in the midst of all the other challenges and demands on your time that life will call for. As she spoke, my eyes welled with tears, and I looked around the room to see if this was normal for this particular group of people to say such unorthodox and controversial things as a part of a spoken blessing over a new couple. I was floored by her statement and her authentically pleasant demeanor as she was saying these things. She was genuine and supportive in her desire for her son's relationship to thrive, and her understanding of what that takes filled my heart with overwhelming joy. When the microphone was passed to me, I admittedly confessed that an arrangement such as that would have relieved so much friction in the early stages of my marriage, and marriages all across the world for that matter. My husband agreed. I left that engagement party with much more than I had bargained for. I felt so privileged to continuously be placed in situations that opened the doors to more and more relationship tools. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they two shall become one flesh. Genesis 2:24. I've observed students get bent out of shape when the substitute teacher doesn't act according to their expectations, and the fantasy of what people envision their substitute parents or in-laws to be may be disrupted with an unpleasant reality that doesn't fit into their ideals. But being completely honest with each other, the strain placed on a relationship by outside people is allowed in by the spouse who should otherwise be setting the appropriate boundaries on the relationship with their parents, family, and friends. Again, people only do what is allowed, and what you allow will continue. Substitutes only know what information the teacher provides them about a student's behavior and personality. A substitute relies completely on the curriculum of what's being taught to and learned by the student through the information provided by the teacher. A teacher can create a problem for themselves if they voice complaints and negative information to the substitute about a student. A mature and seasoned teacher will know whom they can talk to about their student and will handle their communication of sensitive student information with diplomacy and respect so as not to set the student and substitute up for an inevitable clash. Just like some substitute teachers may carry a chip of bitterness on their shoulder and cause as much friction with students as they possibly can, most substitutes have a heart to see students succeed. Some in-laws unfairly pressure their newlywed family and cause undue stress, but most have a well-intentioned heart to see the relationship succeed. The in-law experience can be a pleasant, beneficial, and positive one with the right guiding lines. Never let the perception of others on what in-laws are affect your attitude. No matter what kind of people you have become a part of, you are in control of the way you treat others and the words you choose to speak about them and to them. What you speak about and complain about continuously becomes amplified, exaggerated, and misquoted, causing even more strife. Be the change you want to see. Lead by example. An evil man is ensnared by the transgression of his lips, but the righteous will escape from trouble. A man will be satisfied with good by the fruit of his words, and the deeds of a man's hands will return to him. Proverbs 12:13-14. He who guards his mouth and his tongue guards his soul from troubles. Proverbs 21:23. Testing out. High school and some middle schools allow students to test out of classes by giving the student the opportunity to prove that they are competent in the course material. Taking an exam and passing with at least an 80% qualifies a student to receive credit for the class without being enrolled in the class for a semester or two, like the students who aren't apt to test out. Testing out of a class saves a student time and allows them to move forward toward graduation and the next stage of life sooner than their peers. The students who test out of particular classes are the ones who take their education so seriously that they have devoted their free time to studying beyond that of what is expected or required of them. And there are the ones who, without having to work harder to succeed, naturally seek to be challenged by more advanced classes. Say, for example, you may have a strong foundation in making your spouse feel secure through your proven loyalty and the things you have learned from your past in being a solid mate that can be trusted, yet you struggle in communications. You have tested out of the loyalty course and can move on to communication and the extra tutoring time that you may need. No struggling student in their right mind takes the time to work with a tutor and argues with them. So listen and learn from your marriage tutor. Many arguments stem from the desire to defend your position. If you are constantly defending your reasoning behind how you are solving math problems and the math tutor is trying to bring clarification and a better understanding, sharpen your pencil and take notes. But don't erase your mistakes from your memory because you need to be able to go back and see where you went wrong. A defensive student takes twice as long to learn and twice as long to be taught. Learning how to work out marriage problems is not an energy-efficient effort. Conserve your power and protect your relationship assets wherever you can. Burning out because you are fighting every battle and putting too much negative energy into the issues that frustrate your attempts at a successful relationship will drain you and make you want to quit. Energy efficiency is when you use what you have well and have energy left over, neither spending all your money nor going emotionally broke. Protecting your relationship assets is not allowing the arguments of what needs to be fixed steep into what is already working. Handle one issue at a time. Marriage allows us to test out of otherwise required lessons to be learned by allowing us to prove we are capable and efficient in handling ourselves with maturity in the challenges that arise. While other wedded couples are taking semesters worth of courses on how to treat each other or how to agree on financial dealings, your marriage can be moving forward to more sophisticated classes. Some students are stifled by an inability to test well, but if those same students are applying themselves wholeheartedly in assignments, homework, and classroom participation, they are less likely to be severely impacted by low test scores. Participating in class is being an active member in growing into a mature marriage of advancement and fulfillment through every stage of life. We have established that life is a series of tests. We are tests based on the things we have asked for, both positive and negative. When we expect to face the tests, the challenges of life, we are more equipped to pass the tests with a higher conservation of energy. When a test is easy for one person but very difficult for another, much more energy and mental and emotional strain are used to complete that test. The prepared and positive student is less stressed by pop quizzes, which are a cause of anxiety to students who get comfortable with routine. The idea of having a test that was not anticipated can be discouraging to the student who feels unprepared and to the husband or wife who feels blindsided by situations and conversations they aren't ready to handle amicably. Being mentally and emotionally prepared for any changes or disappointments in your marriage education journey will make your perception of ups and downs feel more like necessary lessons and less like pointless classes that don't count toward your graduation. Passing a pop quiz is an opportunity to earn extra credit and improve your confidence as a student and in your teacher and their abilities alike. The student who throws a fit over a pop quiz will exacerbate their energy and struggle to move through high school peacefully. By the end of 11th grade, a junior in high school can appreciate a substitute teacher for everything they have to offer, even if they are completely off track from the teacher's lesson plan. A mature junior will focus on what they need to do to continue to grow their education into the next phases, regardless of the substitute's position or level of camaraderie with the class. You don't have to be in love with your in-laws in order to grow into a mature marriage. Leave negativity out of your dialogue and cleave to your classroom, your relationship. Juniors in marriage are aware of the option and ability to test out of particular challenges by responding appropriately with maturity, wisdom, and self-control, moving forward with extra credit. That was Chapter 13, Junior Year. Thank you for listening.
Yes, come on, shorty, let's go. Girl, I see you over there in the corner of the dance floor, and I know you're acting shy, looking at the corner of your eyes. So I pick my heart up off the floor, move my feet closer to yours, catch my breath and I say, I'm the one you're looking for. So come on, dance a little dance. Take my hand, darling, take a chance. You be my queen, I'll be your king.